The Millionaire's newborn twins cried non-stop on the plane until a 7-year-old girl did the unthinkable and revealed something that left the Millionaire pale. Drop your location in the comments so we can connect with you. If this story touches your heart, like and subscribe for more. Flight 1982 to San Francisco was 30 minutes into its journey when the twins started crying. Not the usual fussy baby sounds, but piercing wails that cut through the ambient noise of the cabin like sirens. Preston Vale, tech billionaire and newly single father, looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Dark circles shadowed his eyes as he desperately rocked 6-month-old Jada and Nada in his arms. "I've tried everything," he whispered to the flight attendant hovering nearby. "Formula, diapers, rocking, nothing works." Sympathetic glances quickly turned to irritated stares as the crying intensified. Preston had booked first class, but no amount of money could create a soundproof bubble. The flight attendant suggested a walk through the cabin might soothe them. "Sir, we're experiencing some turbulence. Please return to your seat." Another attendant called as Preston stumbled down the aisle, a twin cradled in each arm. That's when he noticed her, a small girl with copper-colored hair, sitting alone in economy, 7, maybe 8 years old. She watched him with curious green eyes that seemed oddly familiar. "Where are your parents?" Preston asked, raising his voice over the twins' cries. The girl shrugged, then stood up. "They're crying because they miss their mama's song." Preston froze. "What did you say?" "I know the song their mama sang to them," she said simply. "The one about starlight and angels." Preston's face drained of color. "How could you possibly?" "Let me show you." The girl reached for baby Nada, and before Preston could protest, she began to sing in a clear, sweet voice. "Starlight, star bright, angels watch you through the night. Close your eyes, drift away. I'll be here come break of day." The effect was immediate. Both twins quieted, their eyes fixed on the girl's face. Preston staggered backward into an empty seat. "That's impossible," he whispered. "That song was something my wife made up. She never sang it to anyone but the twins." "She sang it to me too," the girl said. "Who are you?" Preston demanded, his voice shaking. "Where are your parents?" "My name is Erica Ward," she replied, "and I don't know where my parents are. The lady from Child Services was taking me to my new foster home, but she got sick in the bathroom." A flight attendant approached, concern etched on her face. "Sir, is everything okay?" "This child is traveling alone," Preston said, unable to tear his gaze from Erica's face. "And she knows something she couldn't possibly know about my wife." "Your wife, who disappeared a month ago," Erica said quietly. "Mrs. Melissa Vale." The entire row of passengers fell silent, staring at the small girl who had just silenced both crying infants and turned a billionaire the color of chalk. "How do you know about my wife?" Preston whispered. Erica's eyes filled with tears. "Because she saved me. And now I think she's in trouble. The emergency landing in Denver created a media frenzy. Preston Vale's name alone would have guaranteed headlines, but add in mysteriously quieted twins and a 7-year-old girl claiming connection to his missing wife. The story exploded across every network. "Mr. Vale, I understand this is difficult," Detective Lewis said in the small airport security office. "But we need to understand what happened." Preston sat with the sleeping twins in a double carrier, while Erica colored quietly in the corner, a social worker watching her closely. "I told you everything," Preston said. "My wife Melissa disappeared 4 weeks ago. No warning, no note. Security footage showed her leaving our San Francisco home at 2 a.m. Her car was found abandoned at Golden Gate Park the next day. No signs of struggle, just gone." Detective Lewis glanced at Erica. "And you've never seen this child before?" "Never." But she knew Melissa's private lullaby. Word for word, melody exact. "It's impossible." The social worker approached. The flight attendant who was chaperoning Erica became violently ill shortly after takeoff. Food poisoning, apparently. She's being treated at Denver Memorial. "What about Erica's records?" Preston asked. "That's where things get strange," the detective said. Erica Ward, age 7, was found wandering alone outside a gas station in Reno 3 days ago. No ID, just her name. Says she's from Sacramento but couldn't give an address. Child Services was transferring her to a foster family in San Francisco while they investigate. "I want to talk to her," Preston insisted. Mr. Vale, with all due respect, my wife is missing. This child knows things only Melissa would know. I need 5 minutes. The detective reluctantly nodded. Preston approached Erica, kneeling beside her. Erica, how do you know my wife's song? Erica set down her crayon. She sang it to me at the cabin. What cabin? In the woods? She said it was a secret place. She has pictures of the twins everywhere. Preston's heart pounded. When did you see her last? 3 days ago. She told me to find help. Gave me money for food. Said bad men were coming. Did she say who? Did she mention any names? Erica's face clouded. Just that they worked for the man with the snake tattoo, the man who wanted her research. Preston's blood ran cold. Melissa had been leading a groundbreaking pharmaceutical study before her disappearance. A potential breakthrough for treating early-onset Alzheimer's. Her research partner, Reeves Mitchell, had a serpent tattoo winding up his forearm. Erica, this is important. Can you find this cabin again? The girl nodded. It's by a lake with a big rock shaped like a turtle. Preston turned to the detective. I know where that is. Melissa's family had a property at Lake Tahoe. She sold it years ago, but his phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Preston. The voice was barely a whisper, but he'd know it anywhere. Melissa, where are? Don't trust Mitchell. The formula works too well. They'll do anything. The line went dead. Preston stared at Erica, who was watching him intently. She called you, didn't she? The girl asked. She said she might try. Mr. Vale, the detective interrupted. We've got a problem. According to Sacramento records, Erica Ward died in a house fire with her parents 2 years ago. The Vale estate in San Francisco's Pacific Heights neighborhood resembled a fortress. Security personnel patrolled the perimeter while inside. Preston paced the nursery floor, watching the twins sleep peacefully for the first time in weeks. You should rest too, said Loretta, the twins' nanny from the doorway. You look exhausted. I can't, Preston replied. Not until I figure this out. After intense negotiation, Preston had convinced authorities to let Erica stay with him temporarily. His wealth, influence, and the strange connection to his missing wife had swayed them, though a social worker would be checking in daily. Where is she now? Preston asked. In the guest room. That child barely spoke 2 words during dinner. She just kept looking at the family photos. Thanks, Loretta. I'll check on her. Preston found Erica sitting cross-legged on the bed, examining a frame photo of Melissa. You miss her, Erica said. It wasn't a question. Very much. Preston sat beside her. Erica, I need you to tell me everything. How did you meet my wife? Erica placed the photo down carefully. I was scared and hiding. She found me and said she'd keep me safe. Hiding from what? The men in the black car. They were looking for me after the fire that supposedly killed you and your parents. Erica nodded. My real name is Erica Winters. My daddy was a scientist like your wife. They worked together sometimes. Preston struggled to process this. Dr. Warner Winters. He was on Melissa's research team before the lab accident last year. It wasn't an accident, Erica said softly. The bad men made it happen because Daddy found out their secret. A chill ran through Preston. Warner Winters' death had devastated Melissa. The lab explosion was ruled accidental, but Melissa had her doubts. Erica, why did they want you? Because I remember everything. Every word, every picture, everything I see or hear. Daddy called it eidetic memory. The men wanted what I saw in Daddy's office. The implications stunned Preston. If Erica had seen her father's research and could recall it perfectly, the night of the fire, Preston began carefully. Did someone help you escape? Erica nodded. A lady police officer. She said I needed to disappear. Gave me a new last name. She brought me to different places until the bad men found us again. Then your wife took me. Preston's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Satellite house. Vault code. Twins' birthday. Hurry. Erica, would you recognize the men if you saw them again? Before she could answer, the security system blared. Loretta burst into the room. Someone's breached the perimeter. Security says 3 armed men. Preston grabbed Erica's hand. We need to go now. He rushed to the nursery, scooping up the twins. The house's panic room would be the obvious destination, which made it dangerous. Follow me, Preston commanded, leading them to his study. He pressed a hidden panel, revealing a narrow staircase. Melissa insisted on multiple escape routes. They descended into a garage containing an unmarked sedan. "Get in. This car isn't registered to me." As they sped through a concealed exit, Erica pointed at Preston's buzzing phone. "Your wife said they can track those." Preston immediately tossed it out the window. "How do you know that was Melissa texting?" "Because Satellite House is what she called the cabin." She said, "If anything happened, I should tell you about it." As they merged onto the highway, Preston checked the rearview mirror. No one seemed to be following. "Erica, do you know what was in my wife's research that people would kill for?" The girl stared out the window at the night sky. She called it Neosony, the memory drug. She said it could help people remember, but some people wanted to use it to make people forget. Lake Tahoe's waters reflected the moonlight as Preston drove the winding road toward Emerald Bay. Erica had fallen asleep in the back seat beside the twins, who remained mercifully quiet after their bottle feeding at a remote gas station. Preston's mind raced through the events of the past 24 hours. The coincidence was too perfect. A child with an extraordinary memory appearing just after his wife's mysterious text about her research. Had Melissa planned this was Erica some kind of living backup for her work, the cabin came into view. A modest A-frame structure nestled among towering pines. True to Erica's description, a turtle-shaped rock formation was visible at the lake's edge. "Erica," Preston whispered, gently waking her. "We're here." The girl's eyes flew open, instantly alert. "There should be a blue lantern by the door if it's safe." Preston scanned the property. No lantern. Stay in the car with the twins. He approached cautiously, noting the cabin appeared undisturbed. Using the flashlight on the burner phone he purchased, Preston examined the door. No signs of forced entry. The twins' birthday, November 12th. He punched 1112 into the electronic lock. The door clicked open. Inside, the cabin was tidy but showed clear signs of recent habitation. Photos of the twins and Preston covered one wall. Research papers were neatly stacked on a desk. A makeshift laboratory had been set up in what should have been the dining room. "Melissa," Preston called softly. No response. Erica appeared in the doorway, carrying one of the twins. "She's not here," the girl said simply. "But she left something for you." "I told you to stay in the car," Preston said, taking baby Jada from her. Nada started fussing. "I knew how to help." Erica pointed to a painting of the lake. "Look behind that." Preston shifted the painting, revealing a wall safe. Again, he entered 1112. Inside was a flash drive, a leather-bound journal, and a sealed envelope with his name. With trembling hands, he opened the letter. "Preston, if you're reading this, Erica found you. Trust her. She's extraordinary in ways you can't imagine. What we discovered is both miraculous and dangerous. Mitchell and his investors plan to weaponize pneumos. The formula in its current state can enhance memory, but they've developed a reverse application that can target and erase specific memories. Think of the implications. Witnesses who can't remember crimes, soldiers who forget classified information, political opponents who forget their convictions. They tested it on unwilling subjects. I discovered the truth and had to disappear. The complete formula exists in only 2 places. My encoded research notes on this drive and Erica's perfect memory. She witnessed Warner's original breakthrough before the accident. They tried to eliminate both Winters to cover their tracks, but Erica survived. I'm being watched too closely now to contact you directly. By the time you read this, I'll have moved again. The cabin isn't safe anymore. The twins are targets too. The prenatal version of Neosony I was exposed to during early development means they could have inherited enhanced memory capabilities. Mitchell knows this. Find Dr. Elijah Caldwell at Berkeley. She's the only other person who knows the truth. She can verify everything. I love you. Protect our children. All 3 of them. Erica needs you as much as you need her. Always yours. Melissa Preston looked up at Erica, who was gently rocking Nada. "You knew all of this," he said. "You've been carrying my wife's research in your head." Erica nodded solemnly. "Some of it. Your wife said I shouldn't tell anyone until I found you." A floorboard creaked from the back room. Preston instinctively pulled Erica and the twins behind him. "Melissa," he called. The silence stretched for several seconds before a familiar voice responded. "Hello, Preston. I see you've met our insurance policy." Reeves Mitchell stepped into the room, a pistol held casually at his side. "I'm afraid I'll need that flash drive." "And the girl? How did you find us?" Preston demanded, positioning himself between Mitchell and the children. Mitchell's snake tattoo seemed to writhe in the dim light as he flexed his arm. "Predictable, Preston. Your wife's favorite place. The moment our surveillance picked up activity on this property, I knew. Where is Melissa?" "Safe for now." Mitchell gestured with his gun. "The flash drive, please, and then we'll discuss your family's future." Preston's mind raced. Mitchell was alone, unusual for a man who typically traveled with security. Was he bluffing about Melissa? "I want proof she's alive," Preston said, slipping the flash drive into his pocket. Mitchell smiled coldly. "Check your burner phone. I sent something while you were reading your wife's melodramatic letter." Preston pulled out the phone. A video message showed Melissa in what appeared to be a hotel room, today's newspaper visible beside her. "The children, Preston," Melissa said on screen, her voice steady, but eyes conveying fear. "They're all that matter." Mitchell extended his hand. "The drive now." Erica tugged Preston's sleeve. "He's lying," she whispered. "Look at the newspaper. The crossword puzzle is filled in with my handwriting." Preston squinted at the video. The girl was right. The distinctive childish letters were visible in the puzzle squares. "Clever girl," Mitchell said. "Melissa said you noticed everything. That's what makes you so valuable." "Where is she?" Preston demanded. "Probably watching this cabin right now," Mitchell replied. "Your wife is resourceful. She escaped our facility last week, taking our most promising test subject with her." He nodded toward Erica. "Did she tell you what makes the girl special? Not just her memory, but her immunity to the erasure effects. We need to understand why." Baby Jada began to fuss. Mitchell's eyes narrowed at the sound. And the twins, fascinating subjects. Prenatal exposure created some unexpected mutations. Their brain scans show extraordinary development in the hippocampus. Preston felt sick. "You've been monitoring my children since conception." Melissa's pregnancy was the perfect opportunity to observe long-term effects. She didn't know she was part of the study until recently. A noise outside drew Mitchell's attention momentarily. Preston seized the opportunity, lunging forward and knocking the gun from Mitchell's hand. They crashed into the desk, sending research papers flying. "Run, Erica!" Preston shouted as he grappled with Mitchell. The girl grabbed Nada and rushed toward the door, but hesitated. "I can't leave you." Mitchell slammed his elbow into Preston's jaw, momentarily stunning him. "Neither of you is leaving," Mitchell snarled, reaching for his weapon. A gunshot echoed through the cabin. Mitchell collapsed, clutching his shoulder. In the doorway stood Detective Lewis, weapon trained on the fallen man. "Speed has been tracking Mr. Mitchell since your wife filed confidential evidence against his company last month," Lewis explained, keeping his gun aimed at Mitchell. "We've been waiting for him to lead us to her." Preston gathered the twins and Erica. "Melissa contacted you." Lewis nodded. "She needed someone official she could trust. I've been working with her to build a case against Pharmac and their illegal memory experiments." Mitchell laughed despite his wound. "You're too late. The auction is already arranged. Countries and corporations worldwide are bidding for Mimosin, the ability to selectively remove memories. It's worth billions." "Where is my wife?" Preston demanded. Mitchell's eyes gleamed with malice. "She made a sacrifice play. Traded herself for the girl's freedom. Very maternal of her, considering." "Considering what?" Preston pressed. Mitchell smiled through his pain. "Ask the detective what else your wife shared with him about Erica's true identity." Preston turned to Lewis, who couldn't meet his eyes. "There's something you should know," Lewis said quietly, "about Erica's connection to your family." Erica stepped forward, her small face solemn. "It's okay. I remember now all of it." She took Preston's hand. 3 years ago, before the twins, you and Mrs. Vale had another baby. The doctors said she died after birth, but she didn't." Preston staggered backward. "What are you saying?" "Project Nemesis began with me," Erica said. "I was patient 0. 3 days later, Preston sat in Dr. Elijah Caldwell's Berkeley office, struggling to process everything he'd learned. The twins slept peacefully in their stroller, while Erica colored intricate patterns in a notebook. Patterns that Dr. Caldwell explained were molecular structures from Melissa's research. "The DNA test confirms it," Dr. Caldwell said gently. "Erica is biologically your daughter." Preston stared at the results. "How is this possible?" "We were told our first child died from complications." "Because Pharmac needed a newborn subject with specific genetic markers," Dr. Caldwell explained. "Your family history of exceptional memory, combined with Melissa's neurological research, made your child the perfect candidate. So they stole our baby and faked her death." The rage in Preston's voice made the twins stir. Dr. Caldwell nodded grimly and placed her with Warner Winters, their lead researcher, to raise as his own. He didn't know the truth at first. When he discovered Erica's origins and the unethical testing, he tried to expose them. That's when they arranged the accident. Preston watched Erica drawing complex chemical structures with perfect precision, and Melissa discovered all this about a year ago. She recognized the connection when reviewing genetic data from the Mimicin trials. She couldn't confront Pharmac directly without endangering all of you. So, she began gathering evidence while continuing her research. Why didn't she tell me? She was under constant surveillance. The pregnancy with the twins complicated everything. Pharmac was monitoring their development too. After Warner's death, she secretly established contact with Erica, planning to reveal everything once she had enough evidence to bring down Mitchell's operation. Preston remembered the journal from the cabin filled with coded notes about Subject E and Operation Reclaim. And now Mitchell's people have her. Dr. Caldwell's expression darkened. Pharma's investors are powerful people. The memory manipulation technology has military and intelligence applications worth trillions. They won't let her go easily. Detective Lewis said the FBI has taken over the investigation. Yes, but we need to be careful who we trust. Mitchell's connections reach into government agencies. Erica approached, holding up her notebook. "I finished the sequence," she said. The page contained what looked like a complex mathematical equation. Dr. Caldwell gasped. "This is the stabilization formula Melissa was working on. The missing piece that prevents memory degradation after enhancement." Preston studied his daughter. The child he'd mourned as dead for 7 years now returned with an extraordinary gift and a direct link to his missing wife. "Erica, do you remember where they might have taken Melissa? Any details from conversations you overheard?" Erica closed her eyes, her face scrunching in concentration. "Dr. Mitchell talked about a place called the Lighthouse when he thought I was sleeping. He said it was where they'd finished the final phase." Dr. Caldwell's eyes widened. "The Lighthouse is Pharmac's private research facility on a small island off the California coast. It's officially a marine research station." Preston's phone rang. "Detective Lewis." "We've got a lead," Lewis said without preamble. "Maritime Patrol intercepted a Pharmac vessel heading to their island facility. They found research equipment, but no personnel. The place had been evacuated, but they left something behind. A recording for you." "What does it say?" "It's better if you hear it yourself." "I'm sending it now." Seconds later, Preston's phone chimed with a voice message. He put it on speaker. "Preston," Melissa's voice was clear and strong. "If you're hearing this, you found Erica and learned the truth. I'm so sorry for keeping this from you. I thought I was protecting our family." She paused, emotion breaking through her composed facade. "Mitchell is taking me to the Singapore facility for the final demonstration to potential buyers. The auction is in 3 days. After that, I become a liability. They'll eliminate. The twins and Erica will remain targets as long as Pharmac exists." Another pause. "Then remember our honeymoon. The question you asked me at sunset. That's where I've hidden everything they need. Erica will understand. I love you all. Find me." The message ended. Preston looked at Erica, who was already nodding. "The glass starfish," she said confidently. "From your honeymoon in Bora Bora. You asked Mrs. Vale to marry you again at sunset and gave her a glass starfish paperweight. She keeps it on her desk." Preston recalled the heavy blue glass ornament in Melissa's home office. "How would you know that?" Erica smiled. "She showed me pictures, said it was her most precious possession because it reminded her that love can survive anything." Dr. Caldwell stood. "We need to get to your house. If Erica's right, Melissa may have hidden something crucial inside that paperweight." As they prepared to leave, Preston knelt before Erica. When this is over, if we find Melissa, he struggled to find the right words. Erica met his gaze with eyes so like his own. I remember being your baby, she said simply. Before they took me, I remember your voice. You used to call me your little starfish. Preston pulled her into a gentle embrace, tears flowing freely now. We're going to find your mother, he promised. And then we're going to be the family we were always meant to be. As they walked to the car, Erica suddenly stopped. Wait, there's something else. Something important about Singapore. What is it? Preston asked. Erica's face lit up with realization. The twins' doctor. He had a Singapore phone number in his contacts. I saw it when he left his phone on the counter during their checkup. Preston froze. Dr. Douglas has been treating the twins since birth. Melissa insisted on him specifically because Farmark placed him there. Dr. Caldwell whispered. He's been monitoring the twins all along, which means, Preston said, the implications becoming clear, he might know exactly where they're taking Melissa. Dr. Aaron Douglas's Pacific Heights medical office was closed when Preston arrived with Erica and the twins. Detective Lewis accompanied them, his police credentials, gaining them access to the building. His receptionist says he left suddenly for a conference yesterday. Lewis informed them, jimmying the lock to the doctor's private office. Didn't even cancel his appointments, just disappeared. And the office was meticulously organized. Diplomas from prestigious medical schools adorning the walls, family photos displaying a picture-perfect wife and 2 sons. Nothing seemed out of place. Check for hidden compartments, Preston instructed as he began examining the desk drawers. Melissa wouldn't have trusted him without reason. Erica wandered to the bookshelf, her fingers trailing across medical textbooks, until she stopped at a thick volume on pediatric neurology. This one, she said confidently, pulling it from the shelf. The book opened to reveal a hollowed interior containing a burner phone and a small vial of clear liquid. How did you know? Preston asked, amazed. It's the only book with dust on top, but not on the edges, Erica explained. Someone takes it out regularly. Detective Lewis carefully bagged the vial. We'll have this analyzed immediately. Preston examined the phone, finding only 1 number in the call history. He pressed dial, putting it on speaker. After 3 rings, a computerized voice answered, Authentication required. Erica stepped forward without hesitation. Patient 0. Trial sequence, Alpha 97 Tango. A pause then. Voice pattern recognized. Proceed with security question. The first memory is always the deepest, Erica recited. Authentication complete. Secure line established. A new voice came through. A woman with a slight British accent. This is Dr. Tyler Webb. Who am I speaking with? Preston Vale. I'm looking for my wife, Melissa. A sharp intake of breath. Mr. Vale, Melissa said you might call. Is Erica with you? I'm here, Erica confirmed. Thank God. Listen carefully. I'm Melissa's contact inside Farmark Singapore. She's being held in the research wing, Subble 3. The demonstration is scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. local time. What exactly are they demonstrating? Preston asked. The complete mnemosyne system, memory enhancement, and targeted erasure. They're using Melissa as the subject to prove its efficacy. She'll be conscious but compliant during the procedure. Preston's blood ran cold. They're going to erase her memories. Worse, they're showcasing the precision by erasing only her memories of her children. You, the twins, and especially Erica. It's the ultimate demonstration of control, removing specific emotional attachments while leaving technical knowledge intact. Erica gasped, her small hands clutching Preston's arm. How do we stop this? Preston demanded. Melissa anticipated everything. Find the starfish. Inside is a fail-safe, a formula that neutralizes mnemosyne and permanently protects against memory manipulation. 1 dose for each of you? Like a vaccine? Lewis asked. Exactly. But you must hurry. Mitchell suspects I'm helping Melissa. My cover won't last much longer. What about security at the facility? Preston asked. I can get you access cards, but you'll need a diversion to reach Subble 3 undetected. When can we meet? Singapore Changi Airport. Terminal 3. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Look for a woman in a red scarf at the coffee shop. The password is Starlight Angels. The line went dead. Preston turned to Lewis. I need to get to Singapore immediately. I've already contacted FBI International Operations. Lewis replied. They're coordinating with Singapore authorities, but officially their hands are tied. Farmach has powerful political connections. I'm not waiting for official channels. My private jet can have us there in 16 hours. Us? Lewis raised an eyebrow. I need someone I can trust, Preston said. And Erica comes too. She's the key to everything. Absolutely not, Lewis protested, taking a child into a dangerous operation. I have to go, Erica interrupted firmly. Mom left clues only I would understand, and I'm the only one who knows the override codes for the Mini-Mosini delivery system. Lewis looked conflicted. This is highly irregular. Welcome to my life this past week, Preston said grimly. He turned to Erica. Are you sure about this? It could be dangerous. Erica nodded solemnly. She's my mum, too. And she saved me. Now it's my turn to save her. As they prepared to leave, Preston's phone chimed with a message from Dr. Caldwell. Analyze the glass starfish. Contains microcapsules of synthesized compound. Formula matches what Erica drew. 4 doses. Bringing it to you now. Preston knelt beside Erica. Your mother planned this all along. She knew you'd find me. She told me I would. Erica said simply. She said, your father will move heaven and earth once he knows the truth. Preston felt a surge of determination. For 7 years, he'd mourned a daughter he thought was dead. For 1 month, he'd searched for a wife who had disappeared. Now with both twins secured in their carrier, and Erica holding his hand, he would fight to reunite his family completely. Doctor! Douglas will be expecting us to follow this lead, Lewis cautioned as they headed for the door. Good, Preston replied, his jaw set. Because I want Mitchell and everyone involved to know I'm coming. By the time I'm done, there won't be a pharmacate left to threaten my family. As they stepped outside, Erica suddenly tensed. The black car, she whispered, pointing to a sedan parked across the street. It's the same one from before. Lewis instinctively reached for his weapon, but before he could draw it, the car's engine roared to life. Instead of driving away, however, it accelerated directly toward them. 16 hours later, Preston stared out the window of his Gulfstream jet as it began its descent into Singapore. The city's spectacular skyline glittered against the dawn sky, a stark contrast to the darkness he felt within. The car attack outside Dr. Douglas's office had been a near miss. Detective Lewis's quick reflexes had saved them, pushing Erica and Preston out of the vehicle's path, while an undercover FBI agent who had been monitoring them shot out the tires. The driver had swallowed a cyanide capsule before they could question him. ETA 10 minutes, Mr. Vale, the pilot announced over the intercom. Preston nodded, turning to where Erica slept, curled up in a plush seat, her small face finally peaceful after hours of tension. The twins were asleep in their travel bassinets, watched over by Loretta, who had insisted on accompanying them. You should wake her, Detective Lewis said, checking his weapon for the 3rd time. We need to review the plan. Preston gently touched Erica's shoulder. Erica! Sweetheart, we're almost there. She awoke instantly, fully alert, a skill Preston had noticed she possessed. No groggy transition from sleep to wakefulness. Did I miss anything? She asked, sitting up. No, but we need to go over everything one more time. Dr. Caldwell joined them, spreading out blueprints of the Pharmax Singapore facility that FBI contacts had procured. The research wing is isolated from the main building, she explained. Security checkpoints here, here, and here. Sub-level 3 can only be accessed via this elevator, which requires biometric authentication. That's where Dr. Webb comes in, Preston said. If she gets us access cards as promised. Lewis looked skeptical. We're placing a lot of faith in someone we've never met. Melissa trusted her, Erica said simply, as if that settled the matter. Preston checked his watch. We land in minutes. Loretta will take the twins to the hotel while we meet Dr. Webb. And the doses? Dr. Caldwell asked. Preston patted his breast pocket where 4 small vials of clear liquid were securely stored. Ready. 1 for each of us before we enter the facility. I've analyzed its composition, Doctor, Caldwell said. It's remarkable. A neurochemical shield that prevents external manipulation of memory pathways while preserving natural memory function. Will it protect Mom in time? Erica asked. Dr. Caldwell hesitated. If we can administer it before the demonstration, Yes, but once memories are erased, they can't be recovered, Erica finished quietly. The plane touched down with barely a bump. As they taxied toward the private aviation terminal, Preston's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Change of plans. Meeting compromised. Go to Marina Bay Sands, room 3318. 1 hour, Preston showed the others. Could be a trap. Or Webb had to change locations for her safety, Lewis countered. We don't have much choice. Within 30 minutes, they had cleared customs, Preston's wealth smoothing their path, and split up as planned. Loretta took the twins to the Ritz-Carlton, while Preston, Erica, Lewis, and Dr. Caldwell headed to Marina Bay Sands in separate vehicles. The iconic three-towered hotel dominated Singapore's skyline. Preston and Erica took one elevator, while Lewis and Dr. Caldwell took another, all converging on the 33rd floor from different directions. Room 3318 appeared ordinary. Preston knocked, one hand keeping Erica slightly behind him, the other near the small taser Lewis had provided, the closest thing to a weapon he could legally carry. The door opened to reveal a petite woman with silver-streaked black hair and tired eyes. Quickly, she urged them inside. Once the door closed, she studied Erica intently. You look so much like your mother, she said softly before turning to Preston. Dr. Tyler Webb, I've worked with Melissa for nearly a year, helping document Pharmac's illegal activities. Where is she now? Preston demanded. Still in the research facility. They've moved up the demonstration to noon today, 7 hours from now. Mitchell somehow discovered our communication. Dr. Douglas, Lewis guessed. Webb nodded. He's been Mitchell's informant from the beginning, monitoring the twins' development and reporting directly to Singapore. How do we get to Melissa? Preston asked. Webb produced a small case containing access cards and a USB drive. These will get you through the main security checkpoints. The drive contains a program that will trigger a fire alarm in the East Wing at precisely 11:30 a.m., creating your diversion. And Subble 3? Dr. Caldwell asked. That's where we need Erica, Webb said gently. The elevator requires both an access card and a voice command that matches authorized personnel. But Melissa built in a back door, a specific sequence that overrides the system, designed to recognize Erica's voice pattern. All eyes turned to Erica, who nodded confidently. I remember the code. Mom made me practice it like a song, Webb continued. Once you reach Subble 3, you'll find Melissa in the main laboratory. She'll be heavily guarded during preparation for the demonstration. How many guards? Lewis asked. At least 4, plus Dr. Mitchell and the technical team. Preston absorbed this information, his determination growing. What about after we reach her? How do we get out the service elevator here? Webb pointed to the blueprint. It leads to the loading dock. I'll have a vehicle waiting. This seems too simple, Lewis said suspiciously. Webb's expression darkened. It won't be simple, Detective. This is merely the framework. Everything that can go wrong will, but it's the only chance Melissa has. Preston knelt before Erica. You don't have to do this part. You can stay with Loretta and the twins. Erica's chin lifted stubbornly. I'm going. Mom needs me. Preston recognized the determination in her eyes, the same expression he'd seen countless times in Melissa's. All right, but you stay between me and Detective Lewis at all times. Webb checked her watch. One more thing you should know. The Nemosin formula has evolved. The latest version doesn't just erase memories, it can replace them with artificial ones. What does that mean for Melissa? Dr. Caldwell asked, alarmed. It means, Webb said gravely, that after the demonstration, she won't just forget you all. She'll remember a completely different life, one that never existed. The Pharmac Singapore facility resembled a gleaming corporate headquarters rather than a clandestine research lab. Situated on a small private island connected to the mainland by a heavily guarded bridge, its glass and steel structure reflected the tropical sunlight, projecting an image of transparency that belied its true purpose. Preston adjusted his tie, the weight of Dr. Webb's access card heavy in his pocket. Beside him, Erica sat quietly in the back of the taxi, dressed in a private school uniform Webb had provided as part of their cover. Remember, Preston said softly, you're my daughter visiting my workplace for a school project. Stay close to me. Erica nodded, her eyes fixed on the approaching security checkpoint. "I'm not scared," she said, though her small hand sought his. "Good," Preston replied, squeezing her fingers gently. "Because I'm terrified enough for both of us." Their taxi stopped at the checkpoint. Preston presented the forged ID badge identifying him as Dr. Preston Ward, neurochemical researcher. The guard scanned it, then peered at Erica. "Family day isn't until next week," he noted, consulting his tablet. Preston produced a letter on pharma tech letterhead. "Special permission. My daughter's school project on pharmaceutical development approved by Dr. Douglas himself." The mention of Douglas's name worked as Webb had predicted. The guard nodded and waved them through, barely glancing at Erica's fake school ID. Once inside the main lobby, Preston checked his watch. 10:45 a.m., 45 minutes until the diversion. Detective Lewis and Dr. Caldwell would enter separately at 11:15 using different credentials. "Phase 1 complete," Preston murmured as they took the main elevator to the second floor. From there, they would follow Webb's mapped route to the research wing. The facility's interior was clinically pristine, white walls, polished floors, and glass-walled laboratories, where scientists worked on projects far more innocuous than mimicry. Security cameras tracked their movement, but Webb had assured them that their path avoided the most closely monitored areas. "Dad," Erica whispered, slipping naturally into her role. "I need the bathroom." Preston tensed. This wasn't part of the plan, but refusing would draw attention. "Of course, sweetheart." They found a restroom near the cafeteria. Preston waited anxiously outside the women's door, checking his watch repeatedly. 10:52 a.m. When Erica emerged 5 minutes later, her expression had changed. "Blue lantern," she whispered. Preston froze, the code phrase from the cabin, "Danger." "What did you see?" he asked casually, taking her hand and leading her toward a display of Pharmach consumer products. "Dr. Mitchell," she murmured. "In the cafeteria. He looked right at me." Preston's heart pounded. Had Mitchell recognized her? Did he say anything? Make any move toward you? No. He was talking to a woman, but he stared at me for too long. Preston pressed the silent alert button on his phone. 3 rapid taps that would signal Lewis. Change of plans. "We move now." They abandoned their leisurely pace, moving purposefully toward the east wing. Preston's phone vibrated with Lewis's response. In position, proceeding to sub-level access. The research wing entrance required the first specialized access card. Preston swiped Webb's card, and the door opened with a soft hiss. Beyond lay a corridor noticeably different from the public-facing areas, fewer windows, more security cameras, and numbered laboratory doors. Almost to the elevator, Preston encouraged as they rounded the final corner. They stopped short. Dr. Aaron Douglas stood before the elevator, flanked by 2 security guards. "Mr. Vale," Douglas said pleasantly. "And Erica, how wonderful to see you both, though I must say I'm surprised by this visit." Preston pushed Erica slightly behind him. "Dr. Douglas, we were just touring the facility with access cards to our restricted research wing." "How enterprising." Douglas's smile never reached his eyes. "Did you really think we wouldn't be monitoring for unusual access patterns after Dr. Webb's recent indiscretions?" "Where is my wife?" Preston demanded, dropping the pretense. Preparing for a groundbreaking demonstration, one that will revolutionize therapeutic memory management, Douglas gestured to the guards. "Please escort Mr. Vale and the child to conference room E. Dr. Mitchell will want to speak with them personally." Now, as the guards moved forward, the building's fire alarm shrieked to life 30 minutes ahead of schedule. Sprinklers activated, drenching everyone in seconds. In the momentary confusion, Detective Lewis appeared behind Douglas, his FBI credentials displayed. "Federal agent, everyone stand." The guards hesitated, caught between conflicting authorities. "This is a private foreign facility," Douglas snapped. "You have no jurisdiction here. I have enough to detain you while Singapore authorities investigate multiple kidnapping charges," Lewis countered. While they argued, Erica tugged Preston toward the elevator. In the confusion and blaring alarms, she swiped Webb's card and placed her palm on the biometric scanner. "Emergency Protocol Alpha Child Starlight 97, she said clearly, her voice somehow carrying over the alarm. The elevator doors opened. Preston pulled Erica inside just as one of the guards noticed their movement. "Stop them!" Douglas shouted. Lewis positioned himself between the guards and the elevator, buying precious seconds as the doors closed. "Detective Lewis," Erica whispered, watching him disappear from view. "He'll be okay," Preston assured her, though he wasn't certain. "He's doing his job so we can do ours." The elevator descended rapidly to Subble 3. Preston removed the vials from his pocket, uncapping one. "Drink this now," he instructed Erica. She swallowed the clear liquid without question, then watched as Preston did the same. "Will it work fast enough?" she asked. "Your mother designed it. I trust it will." The elevator slowed, then stopped. As the doors opened, Preston braced himself for armed resistance. Instead, they found an empty corridor, eerily silent compared to the chaos above. "This way," Erica said confidently, leading him toward a set of double doors marked Laboratory 3A. "Mom is in there. I can feel it." The laboratory was a sterile environment of gleaming metal and glass. Complex equipment lined the walls, monitors displaying brainwave patterns, IV stands with bags of clear liquid, and in the center, a reclining medical chair that resembled something between a dentist's chair and an astronaut's seat. Melissa Vale sat motionless in that chair, electrodes attached to her temples, her eyes closed. She wore a simple white hospital gown, her dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. Despite the clinical setting, she looked peaceful, unnaturally so. "Mom." Erica rushed forward before Preston could stop her. Melissa's eyes opened slowly. She blinked at Erica with no recognition. "Hello," she said pleasantly. "Are you lost, little girl?" Preston felt his heart shatter as he approached cautiously. "Melissa, it's Preston." She studied him with clinical detachment. "You seem familiar, but I can't place you. Are you with the research team?" "They've already started the procedure," came a voice from behind a glass partition. Dr. Reeves Mitchell emerged, his arm in a sling from Lewis's gunshot wound. "Not the full eraser yet. Just a temporary suppression to ensure her cooperation during preparation." "Reverse it," Preston demanded. Now Mitchell chuckled. "Or what? You've walked into a secure facility with no leverage and no escape plan." He gestured around the empty lab. "I've dismissed the technical staff for now. Just us and a fascinating family reunion." Erica approached Melissa again, more cautiously. "Mum, it's me, Erica, your daughter." Melissa smiled politely. "I don't have children. I think you're confused. The memory suppression is targeted," Mitchell explained with clinical pride. "She remembers her scientific work perfectly. Ask her about molecular neuropharmacology, and she'll give you a brilliant lecture. But her personal memories, husband, children, her investigation against us, those are temporarily inaccessible." "You monster," Preston growled. "Visionary," Mitchell corrected. "Imagine a world where traumatic memories can be selectively removed. Soldiers returning from war without PTSD. Victims of assault freed from their nightmares. Of course, there are other applications too. Witnesses who can't testify because they no longer remember the crime. Political dissident who forget their convictions. The market potential is unlimited." Erica had taken Melissa's hand, studying her mother's vacant expression. "You won't win," she said with quiet certainty. Mitchell regarded her with genuine curiosity. "You're quite extraordinary, Erica. Patient zero, the perfect subject. Your brain adapted to pneumonia in ways we never anticipated, developing immunity to memory manipulation. We've been trying to replicate that resistance for years. Is that why you're doing this demonstration?" Preston asked, trying to keep Mitchell talking while he assessed their options. "To show you can overcome that resistance." "Precisely." Melissa's breakthrough was figuring out how to penetrate even adapted neural pathways like Erica's. Once we demonstrate that on Melissa herself, a subject with significant exposure to the compound, our buyers will be satisfied that no one is immune. During this exchange, Erica had been whispering to Melissa, still holding her hand. Preston noticed Melissa's eyes beginning to show confusion. "The full procedure begins in 20 minutes, Mitchell continued, checking his watch. "Our guests are being escorted down as we speak. They're quite excited to." He stopped, noticing Melissa's changing expression. "What have you done?" he demanded, striding toward Erica. Preston intercepted him, blocking his path. "The antidote. Melissa created it, and we've all taken it, including her just now." Mitchell's eyes darted to Erica, who held up an empty vial, the doses Preston had carried, plus the one Webb had supplied for Melissa. While Preston kept Mitchell talking, Erica had administered it. "Impossible," Mitchell hissed. "She's fully connected to the Neosony delivery system, which you dismissed the technicians from monitoring," Preston pointed out. "Amateur move, Mitchell." Melissa's confusion was deepening, her eyes darting between Preston and Erica with growing recognition. "Preston, what's happening? Where are the twins?" "Safe," Preston assured her. "Erica's been taking care of all of us." Mitchell lunged toward a red emergency button on the wall, but Preston tackled him before he could reach it. They crashed into equipment cart, sending vials and instruments clattering to the floor. "Erica, disconnect your mother," Preston shouted as he grappled with Mitchell. Erica quickly began removing the electrodes from Melissa's temples, while explaining in rapid technical terms what was happening. Despite her age, she demonstrated perfect understanding of the medical equipment. Mitchell fought with surprising strength for an injured man. "You have no idea what forces you're challenging," he snarled. "Pharmach has government contracts worldwide. You'll never be safe." "We don't need to be safe from Pharma," Preston replied, pinning Mitchell against the wall, "because after today, Pharmach won't exist." Behind them, Melissa was now free of the equipment, standing unsteadily with Erica's support. "The evidence," she said, her voice strengthening. "Erica, the backup sequence." Erica nodded and moved to a computer terminal, her fingers flying across the keyboard with practiced ease. "Initiating Protocol Lighthouse," she announced. Alarm lights began flashing as screens around the laboratory displayed security breach warnings. "What are you doing?" Mitchell demanded, struggling against Preston's grip. "Sending every piece of evidence we've gathered to regulatory agencies worldwide," Melissa explained, moving to stand beside Erica. "Clinical trial violations, illegal human testing, corporate espionage, kidnapping, faked deaths, all documented meticulously over the past year." "You're bluffing," Mitchell sputtered. "Those files are secured behind unbreakable encryption." "Encryption I designed," Melissa reminded him, "with a backdoor only my daughter could access." Erica completed the sequence with a flourish. "Transmission complete. Blockchain verification initiated. The evidence is now permanently recorded and distributed." The laboratory doors burst open as security personnel flooded in, weapons drawn. Preston braced for the worst. "Federal agents," came a familiar voice. Detective Lewis entered behind the security team, now accompanied by several official-looking individuals in suits. "Everyone stay where you are." Mitchell sagged in Preston's grip. "This is a sovereign corporate facility. You have no authority." "Actually," interrupted a distinguished Singaporean man in police uniform, "we have every authority. Singapore does not tolerate illegal human experimentation. Dr. A. Reeves Mitchell, you are under arrest for multiple violations of international law." As Mitchell was handcuffed and led away, Preston finally released the breath he'd been holding. He turned to find Melissa standing unassisted now, her eyes clear and focused. "Preston," she whispered, opening her arms. He embraced her fiercely. 7 years of loss and 1 month of desperate searching culminating in this moment. "You found a way back to us," he murmured into her hair. "No," Melissa corrected gently, reaching one arm out to include Erica in their embrace. "Our daughter brought us back to each other." 1 week later, the Vale family gathered in Preston's San Francisco home. No longer a fortress, but a sanctuary. The living room, once minimalist and sterile, now contained toys scattered across the floor and family photos covering every surface. "They're finally asleep," Melissa announced, entering from the nurse station. "Dr. A. Reeves Mitchell, you are under arrest for multiple violations of international law." As Mitchell was handcuffed and led away, Preston finally released the breath he'd been holding. He turned to find Melissa standing unassisted now, her eyes clear and focused. "Preston," she whispered, opening her arms. He embraced her fiercely. 7 years of loss and 1 month of desperate searching culminating in this moment. "You found a way back to us," he murmured into her hair. "No," Melissa corrected gently, reaching one arm out to include Erica in their embrace. "Our daughter brought us back to each other." 1 week later, the Vale family gathered in Preston's San Francisco home. No longer a fortress, but a sanctuary. The living room, once minimalist and sterile, now contained toys scattered across the floor and family photos covering every surface. "They're finally asleep," Melissa announced, entering from the nursery where the twins had just been put down for their nap. All that excitement from the party wore them out. The small welcome home celebration had concluded an hour earlier. Dr. Caldwell, Detective Lewis, and even Dr. Webb, who had been granted immunity in exchange for her testimony, had all come to celebrate the family's reunion. Preston patted the sofa beside him. "Come sit. You should be resting too." Melissa smiled, settling beside him and resting her head on his shoulder. "I've rested enough. 7 days in a hospital being poked and prodded by doctors, making sure the monotony is completely out of my system. Mom, look what I found." Erica bounded into the room carrying a dusty photo album from Preston's office. "Baby pictures of me." Preston and Melissa exchanged a glance as Erica plopped between them, opening the album to reveal newborn photos of a tiny infant with a wisp of copper hair. "We thought we'd lost you," Preston said softly, his finger tracing the image of his newborn daughter. "They told us you didn't survive the birth. How did they do it?" Erica asked, her precocious mind always seeking understanding. "How did they take me?" Melissa sighed. "I was working for Pharmax's research division before you were born. They had been developing early versions of pneumocin and needed a newborn with specific genetic markers for their first human trial. When Dr. Douglas discovered my pregnancy had produced exactly what they were looking for, she trailed off, the memory still painful. "They faked your death during a complicated delivery," Preston continued. "I wasn't allowed in the room, hospital policy for high-risk births back then. By the time I saw you, they had already switched you with another infant who hadn't survived, and placed me with Dr. Winters." Erica finished, who didn't know I was stolen. "No," Melissa confirmed. "Warner was a good man. When he discovered the truth years later by recognizing your genetic markers during routine testing, he tried to expose Pharmax. That's when they arranged the accident. But they kept me alive," Erica noted. "Why not eliminate me too?" "Because you were too valuable," Preston explained gently. "Your brain's adaptation to mimosiny made you unique, the key to perfecting their formula." Erica considered this with the remarkable composure that still occasionally startled her parents. "And when did you figure out I was alive?" she asked Melissa. "About 18 months ago. I was reviewing genetic data from the pneumocin trials and recognized markers that could only belong to my child. It took months of secret investigation to confirm you were alive and locate you. That's when you contacted Detective Lewis," Erica said. Melissa nodded. "I needed someone official I could trust. Pharmax had too many connections in private security and intelligence agencies." "But you couldn't just take me and run," Erica reasoned. "No, sweetheart. They would have hunted us forever, unless we completely dismantled their operation. I needed evidence enough to bring down the entire organization." Preston squeezed Melissa's hand. "So, you disappeared to gather that evidence, knowing they'd follow you instead of staying focused on the twins, and found me in protective custody after the fire," Erica added. "But why didn't you tell Daddy right away?" "Because they were watching him constantly," Melissa explained. "If Preston had shown any sign of knowing I was investigating them, or that you were alive, they would have moved against all of us immediately." Preston shook his head in amazement. "All this time you were planning 10 steps ahead." "I had to," Melissa said simply. "I was protecting our family." Erica closed the photo album, her expression thoughtful. "What happens now to Pharmax and Dr. Mitchell?" "Pharmax's assets have been frozen worldwide," Preston replied. "Mitchell and Douglas are facing international charges. The legitimate research, including the therapeutic applications of Neocini, has been transferred to ethical oversight committees." "And us?" Erica asked, the question revealing that beneath her extraordinary intellect, she was still a 7-year-old seeking security. Melissa gathered Erica into her arms. "We get to be a normal family. You'll go to school, make friends, have a childhood. The twins will grow up knowing their big sister, and we'll never be separated again." "Promise," Erica whispered. "Promise," Preston and Melissa said in unison. Later that evening, after Erica had gone to bed, Preston and Melissa stood in the doorway of the nursery, watching their 3 children sleep, the twins in their cribs, and Erica in a new bed positioned protectively near her siblings. She insists on being near them, Preston murmured. Says she's teaching them to remember everything important. Melissa leaned into his embrace. She has your determination and your brilliance, Preston countered. The FBI analysts are still trying to understand how she memorized those complex formulas. It's not just them Nemos and enhancements. Melissa said she's extraordinary in her own right. She always was. Preston kissed her temple gently like her mother. Melissa turned in his arms. Are you sure you're okay with all of this? A month ago, you were a single father of twins. Now you have a 7-year-old prodigy and a wife who kept unimaginable secrets. A month ago, I was half alive, Preston corrected. Now I have everything I ever wanted, my complete family. The how doesn't matter anymore. As they closed the nursery door softly behind them, neither noticed Erica's eyes open briefly, a small smile crossing her face before she drifted back to sleep, secure in the knowledge that her family was whole at last. 6 months later, Erica Vale stood at the edge of the Pacific, waves lapping at her bare feet as she collected shells in a small bucket. The private beach house at Half Moon Bay had become the family's weekend retreat, a place to heal and build new memories away from the lingering shadow of Farmark. Look what I found, she called, holding up a perfect sand dollar. Preston waved from where he sat with the twins on a beach blanket, helping them stack colorful blocks. At 1-year-old, Jada and Nada were developing their own distinct personalities. Jada, methodical and observant. Nada, adventurous and quick to laugh. Melissa emerged from the beach house carrying a tray of lemonade. Sunset in 15 minutes, she announced. Prime starfish hunting time. Erica grinned and ran to her mother. Sand flying from her feet. The ritual had become their favorite family tradition, searching for starfish in the tide pools as the sun dipped below the horizon. Race you to the rocks, Erica challenged, already sprinting ahead. Melissa set down the tray and followed at a more measured pace. Preston gathered the twins, one in each arm, and joined the procession toward the rocky outcropping at the edge of their property. Careful on the wet stones, he cautioned, as Erica scrambled expertly over the rocks. I'm always careful, Dad, she replied with the confidence of a child who had faced far greater dangers than slippery rocks. They settled into their usual spots. Erica perched on the flattest boulder, Melissa beside her, pointing out marine life, Preston cradling the twins as they watched the spectacle with wide eyes. Tell the story, Mom, Erica requested as she did every sunset. Melissa smiled, knowing which story her daughter meant. It had become their way of processing all that had happened, transforming trauma into a tale of triumph that even the twins could someday understand. Once upon a time, Melissa began, her voice carrying over the sound of waves. There was a brilliant scientist who discovered something amazing, a way to help people remember everything important in their lives. But some bad people wanted to use it to make people forget, Erica continued, having memorized her part. That's right. So, the scientist had to be very brave and very clever. She created a special formula and hid it inside a glass starfish. Preston picked up the thread, and she found a very special little girl with the most extraordinary memory in the world. Me, Erica announced proudly, making the twins giggle at her enthusiasm. You, Melissa confirmed, the bravest, smartest little girl who helped save her whole family. As the sun painted the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, Preston marveled at how they had transformed their ordeal into a bedtime story, one that acknowledged the darkness while emphasizing the light. The Farmark trials were ongoing, with Mitchell and Douglas facing decades in prison. The legitimate aspects of memory research continued under strict ethical oversight, with Melissa consulting to ensure the therapeutic applications could help people without risk of abuse. Preston had stepped back from daily operations at his tech company, prioritizing time with his newly complete family. The media frenzy had eventually subsided, though Erica's extraordinary abilities remained a carefully guarded family secret. Look, I found one, Erica exclaimed, gently lifting a small starfish from a tide pool. It's the same color as the glass one from your office, Mom. Melissa examined it with exaggerated interest. It's perfect. Remember, we look, but always put them back where they belong. Erica nodded seriously, returning the creature to its watery home. Because everything belongs somewhere like me. Like all of us, Preston said, shifting the twins to watch the final moments of sunset together. As darkness fell, they made their way back to the warmly lit beach house. Erica ran ahead, eager to record the day's discoveries in the journal Melissa had given her, a place to safely store her perfect memories by choice rather than necessity. She's adjusting so well, Melissa observed. The therapist says she's processing everything in remarkably healthy ways. She gets that resilience from you, Preston replied. All three of them do. Inside, they settled into their evening routine. Dinner at the big kitchen table, bath time for the twins, with Erica insisting on helping, then story time all together in the family room. Later, after all three children were asleep, Preston and Melissa sat on the deck, overlooking the moonlit ocean, 2 glasses of wine on the table between them. "Do you ever think about what might have happened?" Preston asked quietly. "If Erica hadn't found me on that plane," Melissa considered this. "I calculated 67 different scenarios while planning my disappearance. The plane was the highest probability for success, controlled environment, limited escape routes, and I knew your exact flight details." Preston chuckled. "Always the scientist. But the lullaby," Melissa's expression softened. "That was the mother in me. I knew if Erica sang it, you'd believe her." Some things logic can't explain. Preston took her hand, his thumb tracing over her wedding ring, the original one he'd recovered from her desk after her disappearance. "I used to think memory was just information storage," he said thoughtfully. "But it's more than that. It's who we are. Our connections, our feelings, our sense of belonging. That's what Mitchell never understood," Melissa agreed. "You can't separate memory from identity, from love. That's why his version of Namasone was doomed to fail in the long run. And why yours succeeded," Preston pointed out. "You weren't trying to control memory. You were protecting it." From down the hallway came the soft sound of small feet padding on hardwood. Erica appeared in the doorway, her copper hair tasseled from sleep. "I had the dream again," she said. "The good one where we're all on the beach watching stars." Melissa opened her arms and Erica climbed into her lap, despite being almost too big for it now. "That's not just a dream, sweetheart. It's a memory we're making right now," Erica yawned, nestling against her mother's shoulder. "I like making new memories better than remembering the old scary ones." "That's the wonderful thing about memories," Preston said, reaching out to smooth her hair. "We get to choose which ones to hold closest, and we have a lifetime ahead to create beautiful new ones together." As Erica drifted back to sleep in Melissa's arms, Preston gazed at his wife and daughter, silhouetted against the starlit ocean. The journey that had brought them here had been unimaginable, filled with loss, deception, and danger. But as he watched Melissa humming the familiar lullaby about starlight and angels, he knew with absolute certainty that their story had found its perfect ending. Or perhaps, he thought as Erica smiled in her sleep, it was really just the beginning.